All right, Club World Cup. I hate it and I miss it. It's the dichotomy of life. It's a strange emotions I'm feeling at this moment. Now, before we actually talk about the tournament, let's talk about the final. Wow, what is going on? Trump and Chelsea lift the Club World Cup. Yes, we will get to the celebrations, which were post game was crazy, but the game itself was actually just as crazy in a low key sense. PSG, the world beaters, the Champions League champs, come in and lost to Chelsea. I don't know. I don't think a lot of people saw this coming. 3-0, no less. Chelsea, in my mind, they just came out and just kind of out physicaled PSG. That kind of bully balled them. I don't know. What did you think of that final, Tyler?
I think you saw PSG run out of steam. I do. I think you saw PSG have their best performance of the tournament against Real Madrid, arguably. I think you saw a Chelsea group who very much have something to prove. I think you saw. I think you saw. It's not a sign of things to come. I'm not buying into that BS. Like Chelsea's now the force to be reckoned with and whatever. But I do think that even Cole Palmer said it on camera. There was a video circulating of one of the social media admins for Chelsea asking him how do you feel, and he goes, honestly, mate, knackered. All these guys were exhausted, and PSG looked tired, and it just looked like they didn't have the same level of press and same level of intensity that we saw throughout the course of the tournament. And a lot of those guys went from winning a Champions League to playing in Nations League finals and semifinals to immediately into Club World Cup and traveling all over the United States and ultimately culminating on a hot day at MetLife Stadium. So I don't know. For me, it was just PSG got caught on an off day, which hasn't really happened since November. They've been the best team in the world. So congrats to Chelsea who caught them on a bad day. And I'm still not convinced by this Chelsea team. They'll finish in top 4, but not overly convinced.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of people came away from that being like, "Oh, Chelsea, the title contenders. If they could beat PSG." No. It did feel like they ran through this tournament. Chelsea did fine. I don't want to take anything away from them, but if you look at their road to the final,
10 times easier. 10 times.
Right? They played LAFC, Palmeiras, and this is not in order, but all three Brazilian clubs. Which, granted, that's not nothing. They were there and they came to play.
It was it was like they were on the side of the bracket in March Madness where they ended up beating, UNC, Asheville, Belmont, and then Murray State to get to an Elite Eight. You know what I mean? It just wasn't the same thing that PSG had to go through. And you can only play who's in front of you. And again, like you said, I'm not here to take anything away from them, but I'm not making any overarching conclusions that Chelsea are now Chelsea are the defending champions of the world and everyone needs to bow down to Conference League and Club World Cup winning Chelsea. That's not what I'm here to do.
Conference League, winning Chelsea. So this was their road. They beat LAFC. They actually lost to Flamengo. They beat Esperance, beat Benfica, beat Palmeiras, beat Fluminense, and then PSG. The post-game festivities, shall we call them, were actually talked about probably more than the game itself. And before we even get to the trophy lift, which was just absolutely bonkers, as you would expect anytime Trump's involved, there was that fight at the end of the game, which seems to it almost got also overlooked because of the trophy lifting. But if you look at it, Luis Enrique, who by all accounts is the great guy, he's kind of a dick. I mean, he kind of, who was it? João Pedro. He kind of gave João Pedro a little shove in the face or in the neck. I didn't see that until about the 4th replay. But yeah, that was kind of an ugly little scene. I guess I just put it down to PSG have not lost in how many ever?
Broke their brains. They
didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. You lose the first time in 6 months. It just seemed like sour grapes, obviously. Oh God! Now where do we go with this celebration trophy lift? I mean, they just.
I almost don't want to talk about it.
I mean, I just want to give Trump a little bit of credit because
what?
He's I don't even think that he had this plan in his mind. I think he just grabbed the trophy, handed it over to who the hell? Oh, Reese James, and then just stood there and was like, I love people cheering. There's people cheering. Okay, I like this. I like this situation a lot. And then he's just kind of looking around like an old dude that has not been to a lot of trophy lifts and just sort of loving it. And he's like, the Infantino's telling him to go. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill right here. I enjoy this.
Everyone
Lifted
was
it.
telling him to go. Everyone.
Everyone except for Richard Sanchez.
No, Sanchez was trying to say to him, like, he was trying to help Gianni Infantino. Everybody. Cole Palmer's face while the trophy is going up. And while
I was gonna say there was one person who was real pissed, and that was Cole
because
Palmer.
he's standing in front of him.
I know.
Are you shitting me? Like, is this real? This man is not a real person. He's not a real person.
Neither is Cole Palmer, though. So the two of them together.
I like the memes of, like, there's 5 brain cells in this picture when Trump was like congratulating Cole Palmer on Player of the Tournament. They all belong to Cole Palmer. Was incredible. But I will say the only defense that I'll come, like you said, he hasn't been to many trophy lifts, if any. I don't think that he realized that is the biggest no-no of all time for anybody other than the team to be a part of the trophy lift.
Yeah.
Like the president of FIFA, who is arguably like maybe the most egocentric man on the face of the planet outside of a few. I'm not going to name them, but I don't know. Maybe whatever. Not going there. Political correspondent. I need to do my due diligence. Like he even got out of the way. And the trophy was named after him. And he was like, you know what? It's not for me. I don't need to be here. But President of the United States does, because like you said, people are clapping. I'm part of a celebration. There are winners around. I'm a winner. Let's,
I like this.
Yeah, let's just do it.
People are clapping. I'm enjoying this. Keep people. You know what it really means, though? The trophy lift next summer in 2026 at the World Cup is going to be the most anticipated and closely watched trophy lift in the history of the world.
He'll make a joke out of it, and he'll be like, apparently I wasn't supposed to be there. Like, I'll get out of the way this time. I'm pretty confident that, like, he got killed by his team for it. Whether that means anything or not is irrelevant, and whether or not he's going to listen. My guess is that he will not be a part of the trophy lift when Christian Pulisic is hoisting the 2026 World Cup.
Good detail, good tweet, good nuance. I really hope they some odds makers actually put money on this. I would actually love to bet on that. I'd probably take the other side.
I would sign up for Trump being a part of that picture if it meant that the U.S. men's national team would win the World Cup. I'd sign the dotted line right now.
Oh, yesterday I would sign that. Last thing before we get to a bigger picture question about the Club World Cup, I have to say this: Cucurella. Like, I know people talk a lot about him. He dives. He's kind of a dick and all. Off the field, people say nice things about him. His hair is unfair. It's not a performance enhancer. It's a performance diminisher for all of his opponents. His hair is not fair. You cannot play the way he plays. Dive, do these little cheap shots, the way he got Joao Neves, and have that hair. Because you are physically incapable of not grabbing that hair. If he just comes up to you off the ball, the way that Joao Neves did, like he came in and gave, Cucurella, gave Neves just a shoulder barge off the ball in like his throat. And that person who just shoulder barged you is going to run away, and his hair is essentially being thrown in your face. You are physically incapable of not grabbing that hair. There is no person in this world who would not have grabbed Cucurella's hair in the way that Joao Neves did. So here's my rule.
You're not actually defending this, are you?
100% believe this. Whether I'm defending it, I don't know, but I believe this. You either have to not play like a little cheap shotting, diving dick, the way that Cucurella is, or you're not allowed to have that hair. You one of those two. You cannot have both. You cannot have that hair and do what he does on the field. It's not fair. It should be illegal, and FIFA needs to work on this, because that's insane.
Well, if we know,
I would have done what Neves did. I would have grabbed his head too.
If we know anything about FIFA, it's that they deal really well with injustices, and they always do the right thing. So no, yeah, I agree. They'll definitely sort this out for sure.
Cut your hair, you diving hippie. All right, Club World Cup, big picture. Better or worse than expected?
I think on par with what I expected. Like there was a million games on. There was soccer every single day, and it was fun to have that soccer on and to see certain U.S. stadiums housing these teams from all over the world, and particularly some of the biggest names. I think that the early on group stage games kind of fell flat, particularly in some of the cities where the teams aren't going to have a big following or whatever. Um, it picked up in the groups in the knockout round stages, and especially towards the quarterfinals and semifinals. Logistically, it was a disaster, but I don't think anybody expected anything else other than that. Yeah, I mean, I think it was just it was a tournament in its infancy, in its inaugural season, with plenty of flaws. But listen, man, like the concept of every single of the best club teams in the world, and you can argue with me until you're blue in the face about like what the metrics were in order to get in, and what the requirements were to get in until we're blue in the face, and I'll argue them with you. But this tournament should have existed years ago, and not in the way that it typically was, which is with like 5 teams and one from each federation. Like this makes sense. Of course, there should be some sort of competition featuring the best club teams in the world, and it's a beautiful thing. And like the Auckland City story was great, and I think that seeing the different supports around the country from Urawa and whatever, like it was really really cool from like a cultural footballing standpoint. I do think that there's a lot of things that they need to sort out, including criteria for entering the tournament. But on par with what I expected. A lot of flaws, fun to have the soccer on, gives us something else to talk about during the summer. But if I'm a player and I'm Chelsea or PSG or Real Madrid or whatever, and I just endured that, and now you got 2 weeks to take off until you have to report for preseason. Was it worth it? I don't know, man. I really don't know. They would need to be the ones to say it or not say it. But those bank accounts sure don't hurt right now, because those guys will go on their vacations with an extra, 5 to 10 million in their pocket, depending on how much the players actually get. So
yeah, I have no idea what they actually get. The clubs themselves, their finances are looking pretty nice at this point. In Chelsea, yep. They can buy another 96 players. I do think so. I loved. There's just good soccer on. The games themselves were good. Like we can't deny that. I don't like the concept of the tournament. I don't like the fact that FIFA essentially made Gold Cup like a second class tournament, kind of shat on that. I don't like the fact that, we're basically giving these guys zero rest. And I'll get to that in a second, but I just did love more soccer. I mean, I'm a sucker for that. I got my ethics, I got my morals, but at the end of the day, when there's good soccer on, I'm probably going to be watching.
Do you, I don't think that they shit on Gold Cup. I mean, I think it's just unfortunate timing that it was when it was, and you couldn't have it any other time, right? I mean, like obviously having it in this year right before the World Cup, I think was obviously planned. But then as far as like the summer schedule was concerned, the further you move it back to avoid Gold Cup, the closer it is to preseason, and then there's no break.
Yeah, and I don't think they proactively or consciously was like, what, fuck Gold Cup. There's nowhere else to play that. There's no other time.
But the requirement to have players defer country and play for club, that I don't like. That needs to change. You should be able to decide. And especially with World Cup qualifying coming into play in September, like the guys who were supposed, like Nathan Ordaz of LAFC is a perfect example. He's one of the best players on El Salvador. El Salvador is entering World Cup qualifying in September, and if the U.S. wasn't hosting the World Cup, Gold Cup would have been taken way more seriously with the final rounds of World Cup qualifying coming up in September. But Nathan Ordaz was forced to play in the Club World Cup with LAFC. Sure, a good experience. Got to play against Chelsea. Got to play against Flamengo, I think. But he should be playing with his country. It's more important for him to be playing with his country as opposed to this made-up whatever that happens. And sure, every tournament is made up and everything is made up and we're all made up and society's made up. But, you can't be asking players to not play for the country. It is the highest honor in our game, bar none. And I'm sorry, whatever you name the trophy, whether it's the Pele Trophy, the Messi Trophy, or the Gianni Infantino Trophy, whatever you're cooking up is not more important than representing your country. So for me, that needs to change because I think that that's bullshit. Maybe it was just a first year thing, but that's one of my biggest gripes on top of the logistics, and then also the criteria for which you qualify for the tournament, because that's just, it's not fair.